what I was a little bit disappointed, and I'll be honest, and it might be a little bit controversial. I got into psychology because of Viktor Frankl, and I was surprised that, there wasn't so much talk about meaning and purpose, at least in my education, in my background. And Gary, you made this so refreshing to hear that you brought this in, and in your work and in your background and how you came to it. If you just want to spend just like a minute or two on how important meaning and purpose is, and what do you have to say about Viktor Frankl into psychology?
I agree that I hadn't heard him talked about much, but I do want to. When I identify myself, I consider myself a cognitive behavioral therapist and a
Hmm.
transpersonal therapist.
Hmm.
Uh,
And transpersonal psychology is the psychology of transcending the individual. And there you'll hear more conversations
mm,
about
Interesting.
spiritual issues, about meaning and purpose, and even about Viktor Frankl himself. But he I think he was initially considered an existential um,
yeah.
psychologist or
That group. Mhm.
psychiatrist, and existentialism has lost its luster to a lot of people, and I think that's part of why you don't hear that, the name
Mm,
Viktor Frankl, and they don't talk about that. But as I kind of illustrated in this show, and um, meaning and purpose is really about just about everything, because
right.
without it, it's just unbearable. Life is way too painful
Sure.
to go through if you have got no meaning and purpose to
Right.
why you're going through the pain. And if
Mm,
you have meaning and purpose, and if you have that mission statement or that belief system and that transcendence and that community, you can find meaning and purpose in just about anything. There's a saying that I use a lot: before enlightenment, shovel, stool, in a different word,
yes.
and carry
Yeah.
water. After enlightenment, shovel, stool, and carry water.
Mm,
And the reason for that is because the only difference between the one person and the other person is the other person knows the meaning and the purpose of why they're shoveling stool and carrying
mm,
water. The other one's just
I like
going through the motions.